Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Fireside Friday. Um, for those of you who don't know, my name is PJ. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Fireside Friday. For those. There we go. Okay, so sorry, I had feedback because I had both windows open, which I had no need to have both windows open. So, back to your regularly scheduled programming. For anybody who's new to my channel, my name is PJ. I'm a 22-year-old college student who lives in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'm pretty much a normal guy, minus one minor detail, and that's the fact that I have a disability. So, I was born with cerebral palsy, which um, causes me to have to use a wheelchair. So I started this channel about a year and a half ago, but really started getting heavy into it this year um, to help others find who have disabilities realize that they can do stuff like this and be uh, a, a beacon of hope to others like them, and also to show others in the world that just because you have a disability doesn't mean you can't do something with your life. So, that was a quick uh, synopsis of why I'm here and a little bit of how I got here. Um, but if you want to know more, click the subscribe button and go watch my other videos. I think I'm up to, when I checked earlier, 34 videos posted. So let's get on the roll with this live stream. So, for anybody who is new, um, Fireside Friday is kind of an homage to one of my favorite people in history. Uh, Sorry, I'm letting people know that we are live, um, so they can hop on uh, and watch and ask questions. And I'll get to how you can ask questions in just a second. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Um, Fireside Friday is kind of a tribute to one of my favorite historical figures, um, and that's FDR. Um, you may not have agreed with uh, his politics, but he did guide us through some of the most trying times in history, and he had a disability just like me. So he is one of the figures that we that have disabilities can look to and say he did something in a time where disabilities, nobody knew anything other than the fact that if you got polio, there was a pretty good chance your life, as far as a productive member of society, was over. FDR disproved that. He drove, he did all this stuff, and he also happened to be the president of the United States. If that's not a benchmark that others with disabilities can look to, I don't know what is. So, he had, during the Depression and World War II, he had his weekly radio addresses that he called Fireside Chats. So, when I decided to do weekly live streams as well as normal videos, I was trying to come up with uh, different name, a name that would be catchy. And sorry, I'm moving stuff over that I forgot was on my bed, so it's not necessarily in your way, but if it is, that's okay. So when I was trying to figure out what I was gonna call these, I knew I wanted to do it on Fridays because that's my least busy day, and I figured Friday night, at least the college students are going to want to are more inclined to stay up late if need be. So Fridays was a given, but I wanted to do something that people would remember. So I thought about FDR's Fireside Chats, and so I decided to morph that into Fireside Friday because YouTube has pretty much become a platform where people can voice their opinions and talk about different things, just like the radio was back in FDR's day. So that's the birthing point of Fireside Friday for anybody who's new. And hard to believe that we've been doing this a little over a month. I had to, right at a month, I had to take a couple weeks off because I was sick. But other than that, we have been rocking and rolling. So how do you comment and all that stuff? Because I want you guys to be able to ask questions, give opinions, and all that stuff in Fireside Friday. That's the point of a live stream, is to connect with people in a more fluid situation than normal. Hang on, there we go. Fix that. Where'd my chat box go? Where'd my chat box go? Hold up. There we go. So, in order to comment when you're watching the live stream, you should see a chat box. And just in case you don't, I'm going to type something in it so it will pop up. Where you see hi, that's the chat box. In order to get in the chat box, if you have a Google, like a Gmail account, all you have to do is sign in to YouTube using that, and then you're good to go. Um, if you can't do that, um, another option you guys have, if you have me on Messenger for Facebook, um, message me questions and comments through that, and I'll answer them straight from my phone, pink case and all. If anybody's been watching the last couple weeks, they know I have a pink case. I'm gonna try to rectify that later, this week maybe. So, message me on Messenger. If not, um, leave your questions and comments in the comment section. Um, after um I get off, because for anybody who's not familiar with the way YouTube works, um, YouTube sets it up to where it's live. This is fluid. Right now, I'm talking to you. Somebody could walk into my room and you'd see it live. But after I stop it, it becomes just another video on my channel wall that you guys can watch over and over and share and comment on, just like a normal video. So here's what we're gonna do. I am no, that's not what I wanted. I am going to send out a message to some people I know who normally want to watch. Uh, and then I will get rolling on the first thing I was thinking I wanted to talk about tonight. And if any of you uh, start watching and just want to jump in with something else, go ahead and, like I said, if you can sign in, great. Leave it in the chat box. If you got me on Messenger, um, leave me or shoot me a message through that, and maybe within um, the first couple weeks of the year, I can figure out a way for you, those of you who don't have me on Messenger and can't sign in to use the chat box, can, oh, maybe I can figure out a way for you guys to message me your questions so you can be involved when we're live. So, um, okay, if any, okay. So, what I wanted to do tonight was kind of look back, since it is the last Friday of the year, and by next Fireside Friday, it'll be 2018. Um, so a whole new chapter will have started as far as the calendar goes. Um, and then so more craziness will happen. So tonight I wanted to kind of look back and just recap the year a little bit, and then set the table for what may be happening in 2018. So, like I said, if you guys have any questions, chime in and let me know. And if you if you start watching, uh, message me or get on the chat box and let me know who it is, so I can have a conversation with you guys. Because right now I'm just talking to myself, which is still a good thing, but I want to be able to steer the conversation any way you guys want it to go. So, yeah, let's crank this party up officially now. That now that we got all the pleasantries out of the way. So, 2017 was a crazy year. God did some amazing things for me personally this year. Um, but like anybody else, I had my highs and I had my lows. And pretty much like anybody else, it felt like all the lows were happening at once. So, 2017 started, literally, um, on the 3rd of January. My family, and I, so my mom and sister, uh, left on our first family vacation in a really long time. We went to a place that we all love to go to, and that's Disney World. Okay, so we spent 8 days in Florida after 2 or 3 years of saving. 2 or 3 years ago, we said, okay, we're gonna start saving, and eventually we're gonna go to Disney. Well, eventually took a while, but it finally got here. So we went, and in the middle of that family vacation, uh, my second semester of, at that point, my sophomore year of college was set to start. So I'd spend all day having fun with my family and in the parks at Disney, and then I'd come back to the hotel and try to work on what that first week's set of work was supposed to be. Um, I guess I should mention this for anybody who doesn't know. I'm a junior, my second semester of my junior year at Moody Bible Institute. Starts not this coming Tuesday, but the ninth. So, but you might be saying, hey, hold up, I thought you said you lived in Tennessee. I do. Um, I do the distance learning program. So I use the same type of technology I'm using to talk to you right now to do my schoolwork. Occasionally, I have to actually use my YouTube channel to post videos. Actually, what really um, got the interest winding in my head about starting a YouTube channel is I had to post assignment in my sophomore year. So but then I started thinking, well, let me start using it for stuff other than school. So I still share all my school videos when I have videos I have to do for school. I share those publicly on my channel so you guys can see them because as any of my professors that have read any of my papers over the last 3 years or anything like that will tell you I try to put a spin on it from my point of view. So that point of view is as someone who lives with a disability every day. So, yeah, I'm a junior studying ministry leadership. But even though I'm about to start my second semester of my junior year, I am nowhere close to being done because it's a 5 year program. So after this year, I still have 2 more solid years I have to put in before I go up to Chicago and graduate because I will get the opportunity to go walk in a graduation just like any other college student would, even though I'm a distance learning student. So, so yeah, I started my year on a really high note. Got to spend time with family and just kind of disconnect from one world and connect into another one that's really special to me because the thing about Disney is it is a place where anything can happen and it doesn't matter who you are. You walk through those gates and you're a little kid again. So then I come home and I had started the process of applying for an internship with Johnny and Friends, which if anybody can see my shirt, I'm actually wearing uh office t-shirt from the Johnny and Friends office in Charlotte, North Carolina. Um, so what Johnny and Friends is for anybody who doesn't know, uh, anybody who's watched my videos before will know exactly what Johnny and Friends is, or at least have a running knowledge because I talk about it so much. Johnny and Friends is a disability ministry that was started by Johnny Erickson Tata, who when she was 17, I believe, uh, when she jumped off a dock um, into water that was too shallow, and she broke her neck and is has spent the last 50 years in a wheelchair because she's now a quadriplegic. Um, but she did not let that stop her. She, um, through her rehab, um, because of course, if you're a quad, you have no movement from here down. So she's got minimal movement in her arms and then kind of just flop around. Um, but through her rehab, she learned how to paint with her mouth. And even if you don't know about the ministry side, most people know about her paintings because they're just so amazed that someone can actually do full paintings as intricate as her paintings are with her mouth. And I actually met her back in 2002. My family did something with her ministry because we were living in Chicago at the time, and I got to literally see her as a 7 year old kid. Me being a 7 year old kid, sit there and sign books and paintings and anything else people wanted her to autograph. She autographed those things by holding a Sharpie between her teeth for 3 hours, 4 hours, something like that. Um, so ever since that week, I wanted to work with her ministry. So um, 2 or 3 years ago, I was informed by someone I met who is now a really good friend that they had internship program that you could apply for um, and go anywhere in the world basically that our ministry operates and work with the ministry for as little as a week to as long as 6 months. So I applied, and the first time I applied, um, family obligations uh, kind of stood in the way a little bit. And then last year, I applied again. I didn't have to apply again because they left my file open because I had told them the previous year, hey, I want to do this, but family obligations come first. So they left my file open for me, and I was all set to go to Philadelphia and work with their office there for the summer, and housing fell through. So again, I wasn't able to go. But this year was a little bit different. I got back from Disney, and I had an email from the coordinator at the ministry headquarters in California telling me that, hey, there's an office in Knoxville. I don't know if you knew that, which I did. Uh, um, and generally, we don't like to send people inside their home state because we know if you're applying, part of the reason you're applying is you want to get out and away from your familiar surroundings and serve. But we know how hard you how hard you work for this and how much you want it. Would you be interested in going to Knoxville, which is about an hour and a half away from my house um, here in Chattanooga? And I talked to my mom about it, and I'm praying about it, and I said, if they're willing to have me, I want to go. So I emailed back and forth with the Knoxville office, and they said, "Hey, our director's in Africa. He won't be back till about mid-February. He's doing some missions work over there, but as soon as he gets back, we'll because he's the one who has to sign off on it. Um, we'll let you know." So he gets back, um, and they're like, he's still looking at it, but it looks really good. Be patient with us, and we'll get back to you. So about 3 weeks after he got back and really had time to sit down and look at it, I'm actually getting ready to go to my church and serve at our church's mission conference. And I get a phone call going, "Can you be here in July?" Um, and I kind of sat there and didn't say anything for a second because I really didn't expect it to happen that quick. That bang bang boom. Okay, he looked at it. He wants you here. Uh, and they basically asked me, "When can you get here?" So um, I finished school in May. They said, "Okay, since you finished school in May, we'll give you a month to just kind of chillax and chill out, and then get your stuff together and be here after the 4th of July and work in the office for a week, and then uh, go to family retreat, which is their biggest, one of their biggest ministry opportunities that they have for the entire year. Um, so originally, I was gonna work with the Knoxville office for 2 weeks, a week in Knoxville and a week offsite at family retreat. And if you're new and don't know what family retreat is, go watch either my internship reflection video for Knoxville or my internship um, video reflection video for Charlotte, which is actually a really good segue into what I was gonna say. About a month before I was set to leave, I get a phone call from Knoxville, and or no, it was 2 months. I get a phone call from my contact in Knoxville and go, I don't know. And she goes, can't remember if I told you this, but we're actually sister offices with our office in Charlotte, North Carolina. And the director for that office just so happens to be the same director for this office. So he was wondering if we can get, if they can get stuff together on their end, if you'd be willing or be interested in going to Charlotte for 3 more weeks after you get done with us. So honestly, it was straight yes. I didn't even have to. My mom was sitting in the room because I had called her when my contact said, "I have a question for you." Um, I had called my mom and said, "Hey, can you come in here?" Um, and just listen. And I look at her and she goes, "It's up to you." So I said, "Sure, I'll go to Charlotte because I have family in the area. So if I need anything, um, that wouldn't be too big of a stretch to handle." Um, and then so I just wanted to serve the most amount of time that I could based on the money that I'd raised, because that's a big thing for this internship. They set it up to where the interns or the prospective interns have to raise their funds, so their travel, their room and board, because basically you're paying someone to um, be your host. And if they can't find you a host, they'll put you in a hotel close by to where you're working. I was fortunate enough to have both sides of that coin happen. In Knoxville, I had a great host family. And in Charlotte, I was in a hotel for a week all by myself, which was awesome. Uh, and then I was only like 2 minutes from the office, so somebody would come pick me up every day, and we'd go to work. Um, so I spent a total of 5 weeks serving in various different capacities for the ministry, and then I come home. So I've explained it to everybody, especially in the last couple of weeks, um, because since it's the end of the year, I haven't been doing school the last 2 weeks. Um, I've had a lot of time to sit and think and reflect, and I explain my the, the aftermath of me being gone for 5 weeks and then all of a sudden being home and having to, because I got home and 2 days after I got home the first week of August. 2 days after I get home, or no, I got home second week of August. 2 days after I got home, my junior year started. So I didn't even have time to it was like a mental rush restart like you do on your computer. I didn't have time to do a hard reset, uh, which was fine. Sometimes that's how life, um, sometimes that's how life works. But because of not having time to process, I explain it to people like this. I was on top of the world, on fire for God, where I wanted to be, um, serving, and then I get home to a place I don't want to be, because as much as I love being around family, Chattanooga is not where I'm meant to stay. I can feel God clearly directing me. I don't know where, but I can clearly feel Him pulling, starting to detach me from this place. So, and that's fine. Moving something I've always been used to because I'm a military brat. So, with my disability, we didn't move a bunch, but we still moved a bunch, if that makes sense. So, um, But yeah, I got home and immediately sunk into a deep dark hole that is I'm still trying to work my way out of, but it's better than it was 2 days ago. It's better than it was 2 weeks ago. It's definitely better than it was right after I got home, but I just figured it was because I was tired. Because in the 5 weeks I was gone, I had 4 days off, not counting weekends. Um, so I had worked and worked and worked and worked and worked. And so I got home, felt kind of depressed, but working with Johnny and friends for even 1 or 2 weeks, you feel like that. Um, so I just figured, hey, it's the typical family retreat hangover times 10 since I got to do all this other stuff. And it was the typical family retreat hangover, but instead of times 10, it was times 100 because I I didn't want to come back to what I had to come back to. But I don't know what it was, but I just didn't coming back didn't feel right. And a couple days ago, I finally admitted out loud that I didn't want to be here. I wanted to be back there, working with Knoxville and Charlotte, and just balls to the wall, uh, full throttle. That's what I want to do. I explained it to someone while I was at one of my stops that I'm not afraid to run my body into a brick wall. And I literally did that while I was gone. The end of my second week, so I was finishing up uh, the Knoxville stuff and about to go to Charlotte. I had one more day with Knoxville, and about 4 o'clock that afternoon, we're getting ready for our final group activity of Family Retreat 2017 for JF Knoxville, and I absolutely just die out. I'm sitting in our chapel, uh, doing push-ups to keep my body moving. So I'm literally in the main aisle of the chapel that we had doing push-ups. And I wasn't the only one who was hitting the wall. We had people sleeping in pews um, at the back of the chapel. Um, so luckily, one of the volunteers had brought her espresso machine from home, and I was the only guy allowed to use that. Uh, so she had made me an espresso a couple days before, and then she sees me crashing out and brings me one that afternoon to help me get through the rest of the night. Um, so if anybody doesn't know what that feels like, I'm not saying go out and try it, but if you want, just know that you're gonna feel like that at the end of the week. But I still had 3 more weeks at the end to get through, so I had to I had to pull myself up by the bootstraps and just keep going. So when I got home, I hit a wall. I got sick. I got because my body stopped moving long enough for it to catch up with itself. I couldn't move for like, or I moved, but it hurt to move for like 2 weeks when I got home because I realized, hey, things hurt that I didn't know hurt because I was pushing my body to the limit. But my summer, which is the biggest part of my year to me, showed me that I can push myself to the limit, and I may break afterwards, but I'm not gonna break while I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing. I can push through what I need to push through, and then I'll need life support later, but that's okay. Um, so yeah, my summer and what I learned from that is basically my biggest highlight of the year. Um, and I spelled that all out in 2 videos, like I said. Go check those out. So I'm going to kind of move forward a little bit to 2018. Um, so what's next? Well, I don't know. Um, I know what I would like to be next, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. When I got back, the Knoxville office called me and said, "Hey, we've been talking since you've been gone, and you've been messaging back and forth with us, asking for information to go out and speak to churches and to other groups about your experience this summer. So we kind of want to keep you in the loop and have you volunteer for us since you're that close, are as close as you are travel wise, and be like a local resource for us that we can point people to in that are in your area. So if churches want to talk about programs, you can go do it instead of one of us having to come do it, which we're more than happy to do. But if they got somebody close enough to them, then they can, then we can do it that way, and we can help you, and then you can help us with other stuff. Um, and one of those opportunities has just come up for me to go help them. I had a couple others that I had to um, turn, not turn down, but excuse myself from because I had other obligations here that I had to take care of. But I get an email a couple uh, the week before Christmas from my main contact in Knoxville, going, "We have a conference in April," which we had talked about while I was in Knoxville, because the thing about uh, ministries like Johnny and Friends, they may not have events going on right at that present moment, but they're usually planning for 2 or 3 events at the same time. So, like, um, one of the opportunities I had to excuse myself from this fall was their annual fundraiser that they do every year. So while I was there this summer, not only were we getting ready for family retreat the very next week, but they were getting ready for that, and that was in like October, November. So that was 3, 4 months down the road. But stuff like that takes time and takes um, effort to plan and orchestrate. So I get an email going, could you come help us in April? So I told them, you give me the details and I'll talk it over with family, and then we will see what I can come do or not come do. So I'm still waiting on details. Uh, Talked it over with family. They said, yeah, you can go, but check on one or two other things. So when I hear back from Knoxville, I'm gonna get the details that I had already asked for, and then ask them, hey, what about this, or this? And then I can go, okay, yeah, I'll come help in April. So I'm getting kind of geared up for that. I'm working on a side project. Um, Along with Johnny and Friends, I also work for uh, I let me clear something up. I want to work for Johnny and Friends. I volunteer for them whenever I can, but I work for a local ministry on a volunteer basis, um, because the ministry is a nonprofit. So I'm kind of working on a side project to maybe tie into that or Johnny and Friends, or interchange it between the two. I'm working on a side project to help go out and train churches and um, the disabled population, and let them know, hey, you can serve in your local churches, and this is how you can, or some examples of how you can. Because I serve um, in my church all the time. I serve in our disability program. I help with our water program from time to time. So my church has been awesome in letting me find ways to help serve, and I want to show others like me that they can do the same thing. So I'm working on that, and of course I got school, and I got um, so 2017 was crazy, but I have a feeling 2018 is gonna be just as, or even more crazy. So we'll just have to wait and see. And I'm glad you guys are gonna be along for the ride. So, I know everybody's still spending time with family and friends due to holiday stuff. So I am going to go ahead and wrap up um, tonight's fireside chat. Like I said, if you guys got any questions or any video ideas that you want me to cover, leave them in the comment section below. Uh, so I hope everybody has a safe and happy New Year's. And I'll see you guys live at least in 2018. I'm probably gonna try to crank out at least one or two more uh, videos um, within now and the time. Yeah, next Friday when I go live again. So we'll just have to see. Um, but one thing I want you guys to know is I'm here for you. So if you got questions, leave them in a video's comment section, or there's a section for YouTube, just straight discussion. Leave it there, and I'll try to help you guys out. So stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time.